guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a story time video of my experience with American Airlines. I'm filming this in a really awkward position and I'm trying to look at the hole, but I feel like when I'm looking at the hole I'm looking down, or it looks like I'm looking down, so we'll see how that looks whenever I'm editing it. But that's why if it looks like I'm looking down, I'm actually looking at the little viewfinder thing right here. Not the viewfinder, the little circle where you get your where you can where you film. Okay, the little hole where the camera goes through. Okay, anyways, let's jump into the story time. So normally when I travel with United or Delta. Hopefully you guys can still hear me because the air vent thing is right there, right next to the camera, so it's really loud, but I don't want to turn it off because then it'll get really cold. In here. But anyways, so I always travel with United and Delta, but my aunt and uncle, that's who I went on this trip with, they booked everything through their stuff, so they planned everything out for this trip and they got everything settled in. So they chose American Airlines because I think that was the one airplane company that had the time that they wanted to leave at, and they had economical prices for the first class seats. So they chose them because of that, and so we went through them, and our flight was supposed to leave at 5 in the morning on a Friday, and we were supposed to be at our cruise line at 4:30 Miami time. We live in Minnesota, so we are an hour behind Miami, and so we were supposed to leave at 5, and we were going to get to the airport in Miami at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we were going to have plenty of time to wait. 5, 4, 9, 8, 9, 10, 11. We were supposed to get to Miami at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock their time. So we were gonna have plenty of time to grab our baggage, get to the cruise ship, get everything settled in. We were gonna have plenty of time to do that. So we wake up at 2:30 in the morning to go catch our flights, and we're sitting in the lobby area just waiting for our time to board, and it gets to the time where we were supposed to board, which was 4:30. Gets to 4:30 and they haven't started boarding us yet. They're not saying anything on the speakers to let us know that we might be delaying or anything like that. We're just sitting there 4:30. Nobody's saying that we're going to be boarding or not, and we're just sitting there just waiting and waiting and waiting, and then we finally here on the intercom for 30 minutes later. So now it's 5 o'clock when we were supposed to take off, and they're telling us that there's a reason to why we haven't boarded yet, and it's because they're having malfunctionings with the plane, basically. So we're like, okay, and they're saying, don't worry though, we'll still be out on time, and we're going to be leaving in the next 30 minutes or so. So we're like, okay, so that's fine, like we still have plenty of time to get there. So we're sitting there another 30 minutes. We've been at the airport now since 2:30 in the morning, and it's 5 o'clock, and we're sitting there waiting, and 30 minutes later pass, and we notice that the time on the TB went up another hour. So now instead of it being 30 minutes later, which would have been then 5:30, now we're not gonna board till 7 o'clock. And we're looking at each other like, what the hell is happening? And they're not letting us know anything. We're just sitting there watching the TV screen time go up. And then finally, when it's the time that we were supposed to board again, which was 7 o'clock, they tell us the battery is broken, we're probably going to bring in a new plane. So we're like, okay, it's fine, like figure out what you have to do. I don't want to get into a plane that's broken and then the airplane ends up falling. So at this point we're not even mad. We're fine because we have plenty of time to get there still. It's what we're thinking in our head. So we're sitting there waiting, and another hour goes by, and then another hour goes by, and now it's 10 o'clock and we still don't know anything. They're not keeping us updated. We're just sitting there basically wondering when we're gonna take off. So it's 10 o'clock, and somebody goes up to the lady and asks what's going on. So they go on the intercom and they tell us that the battery is still broken, that they were gonna bring a new plane, but now they're not gonna bring in the new plane. Now we're just gonna sit there and wait for them to fix the battery. So we're like, well, how the hell, like how long does it take to get a new battery? They're saying we're trying to find a new battery. They're saying that Delta was going to give them a new batteries, and that Delta was going to bring the new battery and they were going to change the battery. So we're just wondering why is it taking this long since we were there since 2:30 in the morning. The airplane was already there at 2:30 in the morning. They had already been checking everything at 2:30 in the morning, and now it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and we're still sitting there waiting for this battery to be changed. Like, how did they not realize that the battery was broken? Why didn't they figure something out before that, you know? So it's 10 o'clock, and we're just sitting there waiting, and then 2 hours go by. Now it's 12 o'clock, and we're still waiting there, trying to figure out when we're gonna leave, and they're still not giving us any updates. They're saying that they don't have anything yet, that they got the battery from Delta, that they're just waiting to put it in. So at 12 o'clock, they bring in snacks for everybody because we've been there for so long, and that's when we realized that this is probably gonna take a really long time. They bring out snacks and they start giving out the number for the airline so that people can start changing their flights, which was a really bad sign for everybody that was sitting there waiting. But and a lot of people didn't want to change their flights because then they were going to have to go through a lot more hassle to go and get to the place where they had to go. So we're just sitting there waiting. We get snacks. It's 12 o'clock. We're still going to get there on time, so we're not really worried. But then it turns to it being 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then that's when we start getting worried because the boat is supposed to leave at 4:30. And we're gonna be late now because 1 o'clock is a 4-hour flight. We would have been there at 5. So that's when my uncle starts panicking, and we're like, okay, we're gonna miss our cruise ship. We're like, what are we gonna do now? And they start trying to we're trying to get these people to cancel the flight or do something, because then that way at least we would get a refund, and then maybe we can figure something out with the airline. But they don't want to cancel the flight, and they're still working on it, and everybody that was going to be on our flight ended up leaving except for a few families. It was a full plane, and it was a huge plane. It was a 3-seater on both sides. By the time that we were able to finally get on the airplane, there was probably around 15 people that were going with us. So we're sitting there. It's 1 o'clock. We're gonna miss our boat. Everybody's mad because a lot of other people were also going on cruises, and they were also gonna miss their cruises. And then they finally fixed the plane. At 1:30, we finally start boarding the plane. And a lot of other people, they figured out what they were gonna do with their cruise ships or anything else that they had to go to. A lot of people were just going to Miami, so they didn't really have anything to miss out on. They were still gonna get there eventually. So we finally get on they finally tell us, okay, the plane is fixed, and they start rushing everybody that was sitting there waiting. They start saying, hurry up, because we have to get our workers to Miami now. Like, we can't keep waiting for everybody. Just hurry up and get on the plane, basically. They're like rushing us to get in there after they had us sitting there waiting for our flight since 2:30 in the morning until 1:30 p.m. Like, and then they start rushing us. They brought us food twice, yeah, but like still they were just being really rude, and we were trying to ask this manager there if what was going on, and she was just like, I'm busy right now, and she was being really rude to everybody that was trying to get answers, because they're missing there's a lot of people that were leaving the country because they're only here on a visa, and there's people that were going to cruises, there's people that were going to islands where they only have flights, like only like one flight a day. A lot of people were really missing out on what they had to do, and that lady was being really rude, and it was making everybody so mad. And she's like, I'm a manager here, so go ahead and tell whoever you want to about this. Like, she really didn't care about anybody that was there. She was just pretending like she was busy walking back and forth. But we got onto the plane, and we ended up getting to Miami at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, I think it was. And we were trying to figure out what was going to happen now. Like, they sent us to Miami. We missed our cruise. Now what? So we get to Miami, and we're trying to figure out what they're going to do with us, because it's not Carnival's fault. It's not our cruise line's fault that we missed our flight, and so we're not going on the cruise. But the American Airlines, they were pretty nice about it. They said they got us a flight to the very first island, the second island that we were supposed to, because Grand Turks, there wasn't any flights going to the Grand Turks Island, so we ended up missing 3 days of our cruise because of this whole situation with American Airlines. And they flew us to Puerto Rico for free, and they let us stay in a hotel there for 2 days while we waited for our cruise to get there, and they paid for our food and all that. But just that whole experience of trying to figure out what was going to happen from getting to Minnesota to our next spot was what was a real hassle, like, they could have at least let us know what was happening while it was happening. They could have tried to make everything a little bit better. They could have been talking to us. They could have kept us updated. But we were just sitting there not knowing anything at all. Like, we were just, everybody was literally sitting there wondering what was happening because they weren't letting us know anything. They would let us know something after so many people were bothering them, maybe every 2-3 hours or longer. But we got on our cruise eventually, and well, that was our experience with American Airlines. And everybody that we talked to whenever we got on the boat, when we told them we had missed our cruise because of the airplane, they were like, was it American Airlines? And we're like, yeah, it was American Airlines. So apparently this is something that always happens with American Airlines. I'm not gonna fly through them again. I don't know, I never fly through them either way, so I don't normally fly through them, and I will never fly with them again. That was the first time that I ever flown through with them, and never again will I fly through them. So that's my story time of American Airlines having us miss our cruise. At least they still compensated, but still it would have been better. We would have just been able to get on our cruise when we were supposed to. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Let me know if you guys have had any similar experiences like these through American Airlines. See you guys in the next video. Bye guys.